Quarantine Kitchen. My name is Jane Liepert. I'm a proud member of the class of 1997, and I also work in advancement at St. Mary as the Director of Major Gifts and Planned Giving. We're here today to do a special virtual cooking experience, and I'm not the person in charge because I don't know what I'm doing. So the real chef in the house is Madeleine Bryce.
Hi everyone, great to be here.
Welcome, Madeleine.
Thanks, Jane.
Madeleine is our special events and annual giving manager in advancement, and she is going to go through a cooking experience showing you a couple different dishes that she's going to make. And the first one, has to do with your grandmother, who is a St. Mary alum, Martha Miller Roult from the class of 52.
That's right, and this first recipe is straight from her cookbook. It is this first item on your left, and it is flank steak teriyaki. So with this is a marinate overnight recipe, but the marinade is really, really simple. It's just soy sauce, ginger, garlic, honey, and a little bit of vinegar. And you just put it in, a Tupperware or a Ziploc bag, marinate it, and then grill it.
Oh, how wonderful.
It's really great.
This looks really good. And knowing Martha, it's really, really good. I remember her cooking well. And then you have here the ingredients for chocolate glop, which I think is really wonderful that you're making it because it is part of being a St. Marian. And you have just graduated with your MBA.
In May, I graduated with my Master's in Business Administration from St. Mary. And, it was a little different this year than my undergrad graduation because it was all virtual. But this is a St. Mary chocolate glop recipe, which, this predates me, but they would serve it frequently in the kitchens as a dessert. And it's somewhere between a brownie and a chocolate lava cake. So it's flour, brown sugar, white sugar, walnuts, vanilla, cocoa powder, salt, oil, and then a bit of hot water at the end.
Oh, delicious. Mm-hmm. I remember chocolate glop. How wonderful. And then you have something else over here. Explain to us what you have going on here. Lots of vegetables and spices.
We're going to eat our rainbow today, for sure. So we are going to be grilling some beautiful bell peppers and zucchini. So I like to cut them into large chunks, drizzle a little olive oil, salt and pepper, put them on a grill. And to top that off, we'll make a balsamic glaze. And then we will make smashed potatoes with an S. So we roast them, smash them, and then they get a nice crisp on them.
Oh.
All right, everyone, we're going to start with the smashed potatoes. Those take the longest. So I've already washed them and I put them all in a bowl. So what I like to do is drizzle olive oil on them and mix them in the bowl. So there's no measurement, it's just kind of what you think is right. So I'll go in here, just give it a good toss until they all look relatively coated. And so once you have that done, you just throw them on your pan, kind of get them settled in. And I'll take a bit of that kosher salt and just do a little sprinkle initially, and we'll coat it a little more later on. And so these will go in your oven at 350 for about 30 minutes, kind of depending how your oven runs. Mine likes to run a little hot, so it's really closer to 375. But about 350 for 30 minutes until they get soft enough you can pierce it with a fork. So let's put these guys in. And so while we're waiting, we'll start on the balsamic glaze. So what you'll need is just your balsamic vinegar, and you don't want to pour too much on your saucepan. I usually set mine low to medium low. I don't know, maybe that's a quarter cup. Maybe it's a few tablespoons. You just kind of go by feel. Because if you have too much, then it takes a really long time to cook down, and you don't want to stand here for half an hour trying to get a reduction. So we will just let this cook, and you'll want to move it around the pan so it doesn't burn. And we'll do this for a while. All right, so I've been cooking this for, I don't know, a couple minutes now, and it's probably dropped down to a quarter size of what I originally put in. So right now, it looks like there's almost nothing on the pan, which is what we were going for. You want it to look like it's reduced by half or by a quarter in size. And the way to test if you've got a good glaze, does it stick to your spoon? Does it taste sweeter? It does. So this guy's ready. So we're gonna put this just in a little bowl and let it cool, and we'll prep our veggies and meat next. Okay, we are going to make the marinade for the flank steak teriyaki, and this is truly right out of a cookbook, Martha's Dishes to Die For. So that's Martha Miller Roult. And this is better than gold in my house. So we'll start by pouring in half a cup of soy sauce. So again, I use gluten-free soy sauce. Use what you want. I usually do reduced sodium just so you don't have bad health problems. So we'll pour that in, and then we'll add 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar, half a teaspoon of ginger, quarter cup of honey, great, and the recipe calls for 2 cloves of minced garlic. I don't think that's right. You measure garlic with your heart. So I have quite a few cloves of garlic here, and I think this is the right amount for me. You decide what's the right amount for you. So it says mince. You can coarsely chop, it's fine. So we'll just give these guys a little chop here. Doesn't have to be perfect, just needs to be chopped. So you'll add that into the marinade. Goodness, baby. And then you'll whisk it. You can use whatever whisk you want. I like to use my hand mixer attachment. It kind of just works better for me. So we'll give this a good whisk, and you'll know it's done when the honey stops sticking to the bottom. So, all right, so the honey's mixed in now, so we know it's ready to pour on the meat. So we have about 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds of steak. Flank steak is usually the best to use for this, but as long as you have a thin cut, this marinade will work great. So I'll lift it up, pour a little bit in, and then pour the rest on top. Cover it. And then this will refrigerate for at least 8 hours. All right, let's get started on those vegetables. So we're going to be chopping up some zucchini and bell peppers. You know, if this was late enough in the year, I'd be using vegetables from my own garden. But, you know, they need a couple more months until they start growing. You know, I had a really good zucchini harvest last year. So let's get started. So I usually cut it in half and then work with the halves. So I cut off both ends, cut it in half, half again. So we kind of quarter the zucchini. So they end up looking like that. And so we'll do that with both zucchinis, and that way they don't fall into the grill. Now that we've cut the zucchini, we're going to move on to the bell peppers. And what I like to do is cut kind of along where the nubs are, because then they have really wide pieces, and again, easier to grill. So we'll just cut along here, and that way you also avoid getting any of that white stuff and seeds. so we have our vegetables cut, and this is how they're gonna look. So they're broader pieces, they don't slip through the grill slats. So with these, we're gonna do a bit of olive oil, salt and pepper. So just kind of drizzle it. And I usually keep my kosher salt in a little metal tin. Just give it a little sprinkle. And a bit of pepper. Now this pepper is lemon pepper from Trader Joe's. I love this better than regular pepper. It's just, the lemon adds a little acidity and I think that's nice. All right, now these guys are ready to go on the grill. But before we do that, I'm going to take those cutting scraps and add them to my little tabletop compost bin. So with these, I think I've been composting for a bit, but it's really good for your garden and it reduces your carbon footprint and you reduce food waste. So I transfer all my food scraps in here, and then I have a larger bin outside my house for the vat of dirt that it creates. So the timer went off for the potatoes, so we're going to pop them out and smash them. Oh, these are looking good. So what I do is test it really quick with a fork. If it goes in easily, it does. Then they're ready to smash. So the easiest way is to take a glass and smash them with the bottom of the glass. So, smash. So we'll do this for the whole tray. Okay, now that they're all smashed, they should look something like this, with a bit of the inside showing out, kind of like little Pac-Men. So once you get them all smashed, you'll just add a little bit more salt. Done. And then they go back in the oven for about another 20 minutes at 400 degrees. All right, I have taken the meat out of the fridge. It is marinated overnight, and it's looking good. So this is kind of what it looks like when it's done marinating. Lots of garlic, as you can see on it. So now we're gonna go grill the steak and the vegetables. Let's go. Okay, so now we're gonna put the meat and veggies on the grill. Okay, so the potatoes have been cooking at 400 for about 20 minutes, so I think they're about ready. Let's check. These are looking nice. So, they're feeling crusty, which is what you want, and they have a little bit of golden brown on them. So I'm going to call these guys done and let them cool off. Okay. So we've had our steak cooking for a bit, and what? I think he's good to go. Look how pretty that is. And then let's check the veggies. Might use another minute on these because we want them to have a little bit more grill marks on them, get a little softer. So we'll let them sit in here for another couple of minutes, but they're looking good. Alright, well, I've brought in the steak and the vegetables from the grill. So I'm going to set those aside for now and get started on the chocolate glop that can cook and when we finish eating, it should be done. So we'll start with the dry ingredients. So you want to sift all of these. It just makes the texture a lot better. So I have my little sifter here. So we start with a cup of flour, and I use gluten-free flour, but you can use regular flour. And right now I'm using the King Arthur 1-to-1 baking flour. I also use Bob's Red Mill, which is also really good. So we add our flour, we add 3/4 cup of white sugar. Sift that guy through. And then 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder. 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And then 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Throw those guys in and just give it a little whisk, just so everything is incorporated. Starts looking a little brown. All right, that's good enough. So next we will add in some of our wet ingredients. So we have 1/2 cup of milk. I only have almond milk in this house, so we're gonna see how that goes. So you can use regular milk, but I'm gonna use almond milk. 2 tablespoons of oil. You can use canola oil, olive oil, whatever you want. And then a teaspoon of vanilla. So we have these. Give it a nice stir. So the mixture is starting to come together a little more. So we have our wet and dry ingredients mixed up already. And I have these chopped walnuts, which I toasted them at 400 for about 5 minutes. And that's kind of a rough estimate. You take them out when they start smelling like walnuts. So I have them coarsely chopped. So we will add these guys into the mixture. You just stir it until they're blended in. So that's pretty good. So now that they're mixed together, we will pour this mixture into a greased 8.5, and I think it's 2-inch deep baking pan. So we'll try and get this a little level. And then next we'll create this hot water mixture that will be poured on top of this. So I have 1 3/4 cup of hot water, some cocoa powder and brown sugar in here. So it's 3/4 cup of brown sugar and 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. So we will mix these guys together. And I think this creates the lava part. So again, back to the whisk. It's really watery. It's almost like coffee. All right, so we have this mix. We're going to pour it on top of this. Oh my goodness. And then we're going to bake this at 350 for 45 minutes. As you can see, we have plated all of our hard work. The flank steak, smashed potatoes, grilled veggies. The last thing to do is to add that balsamic glaze we made. So I like to use a little brush, and you can just gently brush it on the vegetables, just enough to give it a nice coat. And then actually, I'm going to ask Jane to come back and be my taste tester.
Hey everybody! Oh, how exciting! This looks so good. Okay, so we can try this.
We can try it.
It looks so beautiful, and I see you added parsley from your garden.
Yes, I thought, why not add a little garnish from my own garden?
What a nice touch. That is so nice. Oh my gosh, so I have got to try this vegetable. I'm going to pick it up with my hands. I'm sure Sister Marie Therese would approve. Oh my gosh, they're so good.
Or maybe we could use silverware and try the rest of it.
Well, yes. I gotta try some of this meat. It looks delicious.
Well, let's find out.
Oh, it's cooked to perfection.
And this just has a little line of pink square in the middle. Oh yeah. That's what it's supposed to taste like.
That is really good. That is so perfect. Well, this has been so fun to be a part of.
I've had a blast.
Thank you so much for sharing Martha's recipe, tweaked as your own, doing the chocolate glop recipe.
Which we'll try later, once we've had a good meal.
We're gonna eat first and we'll come back with the last thing that will be the chocolate glop and these lovely vegetables. Look how beautiful they are. Did you show them? The
There's some
marks
really
are
great
beautiful.
grill marks on these guys. Excuse me using my hand, but this is my plate. This guy, I like them charred. So there's different variations of char.
It's just beautiful. You just, so good. Awesome. All right, we'll be back. And we're back with the last part of our cooking. I guess quarantine kitchen, right? Yeah, this is wonderful. I've been waiting for this. Really good.
So we just pulled out the chocolate glop and it cooked for about 45 minutes. And right now it's kind of moving a little in the plate and it's marbled on the top. So I think that means it's ready. So let's try it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's it.
That is quite gloppy. So I will show you. There's sauce that gathers at the bottom.
Here, let me do a little. I'll be your little helper.
You can do my Vanna White.
See that? Reminds me of the good old days. I had a little bit of the liquid there, the lava.
And I'm going to garnish these with some strawberries and blueberries.
Oh, how wonderful.
I love fresh berries on chocolate.
Oh, thank you.
You're so welcome.
Glad you didn't forget about me. Not terrible.
All right. So why don't you go ahead and tell us your initial thoughts?
Okay, all right. I'm going to take the plunge. Oh, how exciting. It just looks divine.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
There's steam coming off of this, so it's really hot.
That, you nailed it. Very good. It's very good. Oh, and I love the almonds. I haven't always had it with almonds. So
The walnuts.
Oh, walnuts.
Walnuts.
That's why she's the head chef.
Great.
Oh, this is so good.
It is pretty great. I hope you all enjoy and have a wonderful weekend and keep cooking. Bye.
Happy Alumni Reunion.